Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that your money is worthless, that what you buy today with a few coins becomes unattainable, and that essentials like water and food become treasure. This has happened in many countries and could happen again at any time. The difference between suffering and being prepared lies in having simple, inexpensive, and often forgotten items on hand that, in an economic collapse, are worth more than gold. Stay tuned because I'm going to reveal 30 things that, for very little money today, could save your life tomorrow. First, water, the resource that determines who survives. The human body can endure weeks without food, but barely 3 days without safe water. That simple fact should be enough to understand why, in any crisis, water becomes the most powerful currency. In Venezuela, people traded jewelry and cars for a jerry can. And after recent hurricanes in the United States, we saw bottles reach exorbitant prices. Therefore, the first step is to ensure you can purify and store water. Water purification tablets cost less than 10 euros and turn puddles into safe liquid. A portable filter like the ones sold in outdoor stores transforms rivers and ponds into drinkable water instantly and can save your family. In addition, a few drops of bleach per liter disinfects and extends your supply. Of course, it's useless if you have nowhere to store it. Stackable jerry cans and jugs ensure you have reserves for days or weeks. Don't forget heavy-duty bags and gloves, because waste management is just as critical. Contamination of water sources often starts with poor hygiene. All of this costs little and takes up relatively little space. But in a crisis, it will make the difference between getting sick in 48 hours or surviving. Preparing with these items isn't paranoia. It's pure common sense. Every liter stored today is a life insurance policy for tomorrow. 2 liters of food, the foundation of energy. When the shelves are empty, what really matters is having reserves that don't depend on electricity, that last for years, and that provide enough calories to keep you active. Rice and legumes are the perfect pair. Inexpensive, easy to store, and nutritionally complete, because together they provide the protein the body needs. A few kilos can feed a family for weeks, and properly stored in airtight containers, they can last for decades. But it's not just about survival. It's also about having ready-made meals that don't require cooking. Canned goods, whether fish, vegetables, or tomatoes, are essential because you can open them and eat them instantly, vital if you don't have gas or electricity. Vegetable oil is another treasure. It concentrates calories, allows you to cook, and preserves food. Furthermore, its demand skyrockets during every crisis because it adds flavor and energy. Don't forget salt, which, beyond seasoning, is used to cure and preserve meats and fish, preventing them from spoiling. Sugar and honey serve a similar purpose, providing quick energy, and in the case of honey, it never expires and can act as a natural antibiotic. To maintain good health, a bottle of multivitamins is a minimal investment that prevents deficiencies when your diet becomes monotonous. And although many overlook it, a manual can opener is as important as the can itself. Without it, your entire pantry of canned goods loses its value. Preparing food reserves isn't about being alarmist, but rather ensuring that if supermarkets close, your family will still have strength and energy each day. 3. Cooking in warmth when there's no electricity. Water and food are of little use if you can't cook or heat them. In a collapse, electricity is usually the first thing to disappear, and mains gas is easily interrupted. That's why having simple alternatives makes all the difference. A portable butane or propane stove with spare cartridges ensures hot meals even in the middle of a prolonged blackout. Cooking rice, boiling water, or heating soup becomes a luxury that provides both calories and morale. Don't forget that cooking also reduces health risks because heat eliminates bacteria and parasites. Along with your cooking stove, you should always have waterproof matches and lighters on hand. They're so inexpensive that it's worth having dozens scattered around your house, backpacks, and car. With them, you can light your stove, a makeshift campfire, or a candle whenever you need to. Waterproof matches are especially useful in humid or rainy climates because they work even after getting wet. Another helpful option is firelighters or lighter fluid, which are small, lightweight, and capable of lighting damp wood or charcoal effortlessly. These quick solutions save energy and time in stressful situations. It's also a good idea to learn how to improvise a fire with the basics, because skill is just as important as the materials. Remember that cooking isn't just about consuming calories. It's about keeping your spirits up and providing a psychological respite amidst uncertainty. A hot coffee or a simple stew can restore strength to someone who's at their limit. Investing a few euros today in alternative cooking systems is really buying peace of mind for tomorrow. 4. Light and energy. When darkness reigns, night becomes an enemy when the electricity goes out. We're not just talking about inconvenience, but about safety. Without light, it's impossible to move around safely, cook, treat a wound, or keep an eye on your surroundings. That's why a headlamp is essential. Lightweight, economical, and leaves your hands free to work. One per person guarantees autonomy and avoids arguments. Of course, a headlamp without power is useless, so stocking up on quality batteries in the most common sizes, AA and 9 volts, is vital. Alkaline batteries last up to 10 years in storage and, unlike cheaper ones, don't corrode as quickly. But even with plenty of batteries, dependence is a risk. This is where power banks come in, allowing you to charge phones, small radios, or even rechargeable flashlights. Their low price and ease of use make them an essential investment. The problem is that a portable charger runs out of power, and if the grid doesn't come back on, it becomes useless. That's why adding a small, inexpensive solar charger can make all the difference during long blackouts. It won't charge a laptop, but it will keep the essentials running. And let's not forget that light is also a psychological weapon. It dispels fear, maintains routines, and helps children feel safe amidst chaos. With just a few euros spent on flashlights, batteries, and chargers, you can illuminate weeks of darkness. In every crisis, people despair, banging on useless switches. You, with foresight, will have the means to turn darkness into a mere passing inconvenience. 5. Health and hygiene. The first line of defense. In any crisis, the lack of medicine and cleaning supplies often causes more casualties than food shortages. An untreated wound becomes infected, a fever without painkillers worsens, and poor hygiene opens the door to diseases that we now consider eradicated. That's why a basic first aid kit is a minimal investment with immeasurable value in an emergency. Gauze, bandages, adhesive tape, latex gloves, disinfectants such as povidone iodine, alcohol, or hydrogen peroxide, and pain relievers or fever reducers like ibuprofen and acetaminophen should be in every home. Adding masks and disinfectant wipes reinforces protection against infection and dirt when there isn't enough water. Equally essential are daily hygiene items. Bar soap, which lasts longer and takes up less space than liquid soap. Hand sanitizer, toothbrushes and toothpaste, and deodorant. Maintaining a hygiene routine not only prevents infections, but also sustains dignity and spirits when everything falls apart. Toilet paper deserves special mention. It's lightweight, doesn't expire, and in addition to personal use, it becomes a highly sought-after commodity as we saw during the pandemic. Nor should we forget menstrual products, whether reusable or disposable, as their absence can lead to unimaginable health and comfort problems. Every euro invested in hygiene multiplies in health and peace of mind. In a world without open pharmacies or available hospitals, those who have the basics can safely weather the storm, while others risk their lives from a simple, poorly treated wound or from not washing their hands. 6. Shelter and protection. The shield against the elements. When a storm rips through Texas, when the cold seeps into your bones or the rain soaks your supplies, having a safe shelter becomes a priority. You can't always rely on your house remaining intact. That's why having basic materials to improvise shelter is as important as food. Heavy-duty tarpaulins and construction plastic sheeting serve multiple purposes. They can be used to cover a damaged roof, plug broken windows, protect your supplies from moisture, or even collect rainwater for later purification. Lightweight, inexpensive, and durable. A simple roll of plastic can save your pantry. Alongside it, duct tape is a true Swiss Army knife. It seals leaks, secures patches, reinforces structures, improvises emergency bandages, or even allows you to repair shoes. Combined with zip ties, you can fasten almost anything in seconds. Another essential ally is rope, or paracord, an extremely strong material that allows you to tension a tarpaulin, improvise a clothesline, secure a load, or erect a shelter in a matter of minutes. Having 30 or 50 meters takes up little space and solves a lot of problems. Think of this staple as your shield against the elements. The weather doesn't stop for a crisis, and cold, rain, or wind are enemies just as dangerous as a lack of water or food. In every natural disaster, we see how those who manage to maintain a dry and protected space withstand it better, both physically and mentally. Shelter isn't a luxury, it's pure survival. And with just some tarps, rope, and tape, you can make the difference between enduring a terrible night or ensuring a minimum level of safety for your family. 7. Tools and maintenance. The power to fix. In a disaster scenario, repair services become unavailable. No one will come to fix your lock, your burst pipe, or that appliance that could still have a second life. This is where tools become an investment that multiplies in value. A basic kit with screwdrivers, a hammer, a utility knife, pliers, and a wrench costs little. But in a crisis, it can make the difference between improvising and being stuck. Adding electrical tape and multi-purpose lubricant ensures quick repairs in critical situations. With them, you can keep your shelter standing, secure windows, repair a bicycle, or small motor. Just as important as metal tools are sewing supplies, needles, strong thread, buttons, and patches. When shops are closed, clothing becomes a resource that needs to last, and a simple 10 euros repair kit can extend its life for months or even years. Imagine being able to exchange repairing a pair of pants for food or medicine. The ability to repair becomes a form of barter. And looking further ahead, open pollinated seeds are actually a production tool. With them, you can grow food now and obtain more seeds for the future, multiplying your resources. Potatoes, beans, or squash aren't luxuries. They're sources of calories that sustain entire families. In short, these tools expand your margin of control in a world where almost everything becomes uncontrollable. Having them at hand makes you a problem solver, and that means being able to negotiate, resist and maintain dignity when others depend solely on luck. 8. Communication and information. Your window to the world. When everything grinds to a halt, information becomes as valuable as water or food. In a prolonged blackout, mobile networks fail, the internet disappears, and television goes off the air. However, AM, FM radios remain a reliable channel for news, weather alerts, or official instructions. A simple battery-powered device, or better yet, one powered by a hand crank or solar panel, keeps you connected to what's happening beyond your street. We're not talking about entertainment, but survival. Knowing when a storm is coming, where supplies are being distributed, or which areas to avoid can mean the difference between safety and danger. Communication also works internally. A portable radio or even a whistle allows you to coordinate with neighbors or family members when there's no other way. Imagine the peace of mind of keeping your loved ones informed while others feel isolated in uncertainty. Furthermore, radios consume little power, making them viable even during long blackouts, and they fit easily into any emergency kit. It's not about being glued to your device, but about having the certainty that when something critical happens, you'll know. Ignorance multiplies fear and risk, while information provides control and calm. Setting up a basic communication system today costs less than a meal out, but in a crisis, it can save lives. Having an open channel to the outside world turns solitude into a strategy and reminds you that you're never truly in the dark if you know where to listen. 9. Bartering and morality. The invisible engines of resistance. When money loses value, people resort to direct exchange. In this scenario, certain everyday products acquire disproportionate value because they fulfill physical and emotional needs. Coffee and tea, for example, become veritable currency. Caffeine dependence means that those who consume it daily are willing to exchange food or medicine for a simple hot cup. The same is true for high-proof alcohol. In addition to being a disinfectant and analgesic, it becomes a psychological refuge and a universal barter currency. A cheap bottle today can be worth weeks of supplies tomorrow. More controversial, but just as effective in bartering, are cigarettes. This isn't about encouraging a harmful habit, but about understanding that in every crisis, addictions persist and generate constant demand. Saving a few sealed cartons can give you access to goods that would otherwise be impossible to obtain. And we mustn't forget the role of entertainment. This became clear during lockdown. Without distractions, the mind quickly becomes exhausted. Card games, coloring books, simple hobbies or books help maintain morale, especially in children. A few euros invested in these items can bring hours of calm and also serve as barter items, with families desperate to keep their little ones occupied. Bartering isn't limited to material goods. It also includes services, mending clothes, fixing an engine, sharing information. In the end, what keeps communities going isn't just food, water, or shelter, but the ability to maintain morale and exchange what you have for what you lack. Preparing this pillar means ensuring that even in the midst of chaos, there will be reasons to keep going. Being prepared isn't living in fear, it's living wisely. The 30 items you just learned about are inexpensive, accessible, and easy to store. But in an economic collapse, they can become the difference between despair and peace of mind. You don't need to buy them all at once. Start with 3 or 4 this week and gradually build your own safety net. When others panic, you'll have water, food, electricity, shelter, and even something to trade. Preparation is not a luxury. It is an act of responsibility towards your family and yourself.